play action is flat out the best play in football, at least on a per attempt basis. On average, throwing the ball is going to lead to more yards than running the ball. An average yards per attempt when throwing is at about 6.8 yards. Even rookie quarterback Davis Mills, playing for a talent-deficient Houston Texans team, has a yards per attempt of 6.1. In case you were wondering, one of the best running backs this year, Nick Chubb, is only averaging 5.8 yards per carry. So, even with Davis Mills as your quarterback, it's still statistically beneficial to pass more than it is to hand off to Nick Chubb. Data also shows that quarterbacks average 1.39 yards more per attempt on a play-action pass than they do on a regular dropback pass. That's not saying running the ball isn't important. It is in the physical sense of the game, and I'll touch on that later, but play-action gives more bang for your buck than any other play in football. Further, play-action effectiveness isn't reliant on whether a team is good at running the ball or even if a team runs the ball at all. A limiting belief from coaches is that they have to establish the run to be able to have effective play action. Data doesn't support that. For years, play action success rate has been uncorrelated to rush attempts and rushing success rate. Running play action is just as effective when you run the ball 30% of the time as it is when you're running it 50% of the time. What's more, it doesn't matter if you're breaking off big chunks on those runs either. That's true in season-long data sets and within individual games as well. Regardless of how often a team has rushed in subsequent plays or how well they've rushed in subsequent plays, the yards per attempt on play action remains stable and higher than normal dropback passing. Play action also doesn't have diminishing returns. Some coaches and fans may think that the more that you run play action, the less reactive the defense will be. That's also turned out to be untrue. In tracking linebacker movement with next-gen stats, Josh Hermsmeyer with 538 found that linebackers are just as reactive on the first play-action pass of the game as they are on the 11th play-action pass of the game. However, play-action isn't a catch-all in all situations. The threat of the run has to be present. Running play-action on 3rd and 10 isn't as impactful as running it on 3rd and short. While the long down and distance situation doesn't lend itself to running play-action, almost every other situation does. On 1st down, 2nd and any distance, and 3rd and less than 3, play action had a higher yards per play average than normal dropback passing did. That's true for play action while under center and while in shotgun. However, depth of target and the yards per play disparity is lower while in shotgun. Nevertheless, however you're running play action, it's still more effective than non-play action passing. Having a deeper depth of target is not insignificant either. Maybe unsurprisingly, data shows that yards per play increases with the depth of target and intended air yards. Overall, despite the potential risk for more incompletions on deeper throws, throwing at deeper targets results in a higher average yardage gain than throwing at shallower targets. While teams do favor play action on their under center pass plays, they still run 64% of the time overall when under center. The data just doesn't support running the ball at that rate. Even more, the play action rate from shotgun versus under center is surprisingly low in similar game situations. That's despite shotgun play action still being more effective than normal dropback passing. For example, on 1st and 10, teams ran play action 14% of the time while in shotgun. Comparatively, while under center, teams ran play action 58% of the time while in the same situation. That isn't to say that the run game doesn't have a place. It does, and it's perhaps most well said by Brandon Staley.
What I think that the running game does for a quarterback is it gives you some breathers. And, you don't need a good running game to be a good play-action team, but what you need the running game for is the physical element of the game. There's a physicality to the game that's real, right? If you're just a passing team, okay, there's a physical element to the game that the defense doesn't have to respect, okay? And that's the truth, okay? Because the data will tell you don't need a run game to play pass. You don't need that. But what the running game does for you, it brings a physical dimension to the football game. And what the running game does that the passing game does not is the running game forces the defense to play blocks and to tackle.
The run game absolutely brings a different element to an offense. I'm not saying don't run the ball, especially situationally and as a function of ball possession and creating balance within your offense. It's important. And the old adage that there are 3 things that can happen when you throw the football and 2 of those are bad, it's true. On a per play basis, though, play action should rise in its use across all styles of offense, especially when compared to regular dropback passing. Part of the reason that play action can be so impactful is that the depth of target is tied to the mechanics of how play action works. With linebackers coming up to defend the run, that puts them into the throwing lane of shorter passes. As a result, the intermediate and deep routes are thrown more frequently. In fact, the completion percentage for passes under 7 yards off of play action is actually lower than that of passes over 7 yards on play action. That's why concepts like sail and Yankee can create big gains in the play action game. Especially out of shotgun, you can attach almost any passing concept to run fakes, but sail and Yankee are under center boot and play action plays. Sail overloads one side of the defense with 3 routes at 3 different depths. As long as the offense works within that framework, there's almost an infinite number of ways to run sail. With that spacing, the defensive zones are flooded with 3 receivers against 2 defenders. That puts those defenders in conflict. The vertical route is usually used to clear out the deep defender. The offense is then able to put the flat defender in a high-low read on the intermediate and flat route. Based on how we know defenses react to the play action, that means the intermediate route is often open. Yankee, on the other hand, is a 2-man route concept that's primarily used out of run-heavy formations to attack single high safety looks like cover 1 or cover 3. It's a deep shot play that puts the middle field defender in conflict with a deep over route and a post behind it. The deep over is designed to tempt the safety to come up in combination with the play action. That opens up the middle of the field. If a team is playing cover 3 or cover 1, that deep post has leverage on the corner and access to the middle of the field behind the safety. If the play action is effective, that also removes linebackers from getting into the lane of the deep dig. There needs to be more play action passing in almost every situation on the football field. There aren't diminishing returns on its use, you don't need to run the ball to use it, and it adds explosive play potential to every pass play. Even the highest percentage teams only use play action on about 30% of pass plays, but the data all says that it's the best play in football. Hey guys, I appreciate you watching all the way through. Make sure you drop a comment. Let me know someone, a scheme, idea, person who you want to see broken down here in the future. I'm also releasing a speaking football course that goes over the basics of the language of football, what techniques are, what alignments are. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description.